Hi everyone, welcome back. Happy Halloween to everyone. I hope you guys are enjoying trick-or-treating. Today was supposed to be a good day. We're supposed to get trick and treats. We didn't get that. We got a bag on fire filled with dog poop. So the markets were obviously down today. Bitcoin's down a little bit as well. The miners were down as well. So we'll take a look at all that. And we also have some bad news from Argo. Cash flow issues. So what's happening there? We'll go into details into that in a little bit here. But first, we'll get into the miners, the markets, and see what's going on there. So as always, not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research. As always, I'm invested in the following coins and companies for full disclosure. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. All right, let's take a look at the markets here. So obviously the markets were down today. S&P was down 0.75% to 3,871. Dow Jones was down 0.39% to 32,732. NASDAQ was down 1.22% to 11,405. And Bitcoin is down right now 0.8% on the day to 20,466 roughly. We are looking to end the month. Obviously, today is the last day of the month. So we are looking, unless Bitcoin goes down another 5.36% on the day, we are going to be in the green for the month of October. Obviously, it wasn't as good as prior months of October. For the most part, October is usually a pretty good month, pretty green month. It's not shaping out to be that way. We are green, though, nonetheless. So that is good news there. So let's take a look at the daily here. On the daily, we can see here that the RSI has come down a little bit here to 57. Last time we were there was back here, and we were just a little bit lower in price. So we are starting to see maybe a little bit of a bullish trend develop here on the daily chart. If we look at the 4-hour chart as well, we can see RSI has come way down here, and the price at that point was down here as well. So we are higher in price, same level as the RSI. So that's a good sign on the 4-hour chart as well. And the 1-hour chart, if we look at it this way, let's see here. RSI right now is at 47, and last time we were right around here. So it's looking a little bit more bearish on the 1-hour chart. We've come down in price while the RSI has gone up to that level. So we'll keep an eye on it, see how, obviously tomorrow is November. We'll see how that's going to play out for November, and we'll just go from there. Let's take a look at the miners here really quick. Oh, Ethereum. Ethereum also is at, it's down 1.65% to 1,564. It is also on the 1-hour chart looking, let's see, where's the RSI? RSI is here. Last peak that we had here was a little bit higher in price. It looks like, I mean, we're pretty close. So it's looking a little bit bearish on the 1-hour chart also on Ethereum right now. But we have at least another hour to go before we switch over to the new day into the new month. So we'll see how, excuse me, both Bitcoin and Ethereum will play out. Miners now. ANY was up actually today 0.04% to 45 cents. Argo obviously was down 46.46% based on the news that came out. They haven't secured funding from the private investor. We'll get into that obviously in the details here in a little bit. And Bit Digital was down 0.93% to $1.06. Bitfarms was down 8.68% to 96 cents. CleanSpark was down 4.92% to $3.48. Cores was actually up just barely. It was up a little bit higher during the day to almost like 10-11% up on the day, but it has fallen down. Only up 1.99% today to 20 cents right now. DigiHost 2.83% down to 72 cents. DMG down 9.33% to 18 cents. Sorry. Greenidge was down 3.74% to 97 cents. Hive was down 8.58 to $3.09. Hut was down 5.08% to $2.24. Iris Energy was down 2.45% to $3.39. Luxfolio was actually up 10.12% to 5 cents. Marathon was down 5.34% to $13.11. Mawson was down 4.31 to 44 cents. Riot was down 2.27 to $6.89. Soluna was down 7.5% to $1.11. Stronghold was down 2.05% to 95 cents. So as you can see, not a good day for the miners in general. And let's take a look at the network hash rate really quick while we're at it. It has come up a little bit here to 261 million right now and a half roughly. So it is starting to go back up a little bit. We have fallen from our high here of 266 on the 7-day average all the way to a low of 255 in the last, what is that going to be, couple of days. This was from October 11th. So in the last 2 weeks, basically we've fallen down, but we're starting to go back up on that one as well. Okay, so let's take a look at Argo here. So Argo came out with news this morning around 5 o'clock this morning. Obviously, that tanked the stock in the beginning of the trading. And here's the important parts to take a look at. So Argo, as previously disclosed, the company signed a non-binding LOI with a strategic investor to raise approximately 24 million pounds or $27 million via a subscription for ordinary shares. The company longer believes that this subscription will be consummated under the previously announced terms. Argo is continuing to explore other financing opportunities, so we'll see if anything comes of that. The company has also taken steps to further maximize liquidity and preserve cash. The company sold an additional 3,843 new inbox Bitmain S19J Pro machines, representing 384 petahash of total hash rate capacity for cash proceeds of 4.8 million pounds or $5.6 million. That equates to about $14.56 per terahash. That is a fire sale right there, unfortunately. And just earlier this month, they also sold 3,400 new inbox Bitmain S19J Pros, also representing 340 petahash of total hash rate capacity for cash proceeds of 6 million pounds or $6.8 million. That equated to $20 per terahash, so that wasn't too bad. But obviously, that's what they sold. The latest batch at is basically 25% off of where they sold it just earlier this month, which is just unbelievable. So they have sold 340 petahash here and another 384. So that's 724 petahash total that they've sold off here in the last month, basically. That's a lot. That obviously has lowered their hash rate capacity that they were going for. So these machines are the latest batch of the original Bitmain ordered, scheduled for installation in October 2022. As a result, the company's total hash rate capacity remains at 2.5 exahash. No, it doesn't remain. It was lowered because here they sold it off and they were supposed to be at 2.9. After accounting for this sale, the company expects to achieve a total hash rate capacity of 2.9. So that's obviously been lowered down to 2.5 now. And I do have that updated in my spreadsheet, which we'll take a look at here shortly as well. Let me see. There was something else. Conditional. Nope. There was something else. Financing. Nope. Let's see here. Reduction, assumption, completion, transaction. There was also somewhere in here, I read it. I forgot to mark it down, but they basically said that they are. Oh, here it is. The company has been proactive in curtailing operations at its flagship Helios facility in Dickens County, Texas, during periods of high power prices and securing a more favorable short-term power purchase agreement, PPA, with a new electricity provider. The company remains optimistic about securing a long-term low collateral fixed price PPA and is continuing reviewing its other expenditures to identify and take additional steps to manage the company's costs. So still not having, or at least we haven't heard anything about this. They didn't provide it in the latest report here. Let's continue on here. So no assurance of definitive agreements. While Argo is exploring other financing opportunities, there can be no assurance that any definitive agreements will be signed or that any transactions will be consummated. Should Argo be unsuccessful in completing any further financing, Argo would become cash flow negative in the near term and would need to curtail or cease operations. That is not good, right? That is kind of the same thing that we're hearing from Core Scientific as well. They obviously came out last week saying that they're basically in trouble with cash flow as well. They have enough to maybe last them 2 more months through October and November, and then December would obviously be questionable with them. They're obviously going through a little bit different state with Celsius, kind of costing them more than they're getting repaid back, basically. So that's hurting them. But Argo, I think, is just the cost of electricity has hurt them tremendously here. The company is endeavoring to complete such financing transactions to provide the company with working capital sufficient for its present requirements. That is for at least the next 12 months from the date of this announcement. So they're working on something to hopefully get them through this. Now, if they can't do that, they obviously have to do other things that are going to help them be a little bit less cash draining, I guess you could say. Let's take a look at the information that we do have on them as far as the numbers are concerned. So a lot of the numbers that we do have are from Q2. We're waiting for Q3 numbers to come out. Don't know when those are going to be out from Argo. We're hoping that those are going to be out within the next couple of weeks, but we'll see. But here's what we did. So they did have, let me see here. So I did mark down the remaining hash rate that they're going to be at. So they sold 3,400 here on October 7th. They sold another 3,843 here in October, basically just recently. Those were at $14.57 per miner. The other ones were $20 per miner, per terahash. $20 per terahash. And these were sold at $14.57 per terahash. So we got that calculated in here. Now I do have them at basically being at 2.5 exahash when everything is said and done. And that's basically the remainder of, I think, maybe these 157, if those even get installed. Or, some of these might have gone bad, but basically they're at 2.5 exahash right now is where we have them. Now, they have been selling a lot of Bitcoin that they have been mining. They did not provide as far as how much Bitcoin they have left right now. I currently have them at the end of September. They had reported 512 BTC, which was valued at about 10 million. Currently about 10 million right now. They did not provide any information as far as them selling that. So we're just going to go with that until we get maybe October numbers from them later on in November. But they have been selling quite a bit here. They've sold basically in the last 4 months that we've been tracking this about $57 million worth of Bitcoin. And they've been burning through that. So that's a lot. Obviously, don't know exactly what their power cost is. If it's close to 9 cents or something like that, yeah, they're probably losing money on the miners right now mining. Or if they're higher than that, it's making it very difficult for them, especially with the network hash rate going up. So they sold, let me see here, they've sold a total of 2,747 Bitcoins in the last 4 months, valued at approximately $57 million roughly. So that is a lot. They're obviously burning through cash quite quickly here. And we just don't know about the 512 that were remaining at the end of September. We'll see if they sold those off or not. So that's obviously going to be added on to the list here as well. So with the current numbers that we do have for them, they are basically 100% installed, no future hash rate increases or anything like that. They are now in trouble, obviously, with network hash rate going up. They are going to be making less and less each month because of that. So unless Bitcoin goes up the same amount as the network hash rate goes up. So if the network hash rate goes up each month 5%, Bitcoin has to go up 5% or more in order for them to make at least the same or more than the month prior. If Bitcoin goes down and hash rate goes up, well, they're going to be making a lot less. So that's not a good sign there. Now, the numbers that we do have for them are for Q2 here, and we can see that current assets, they have them at the end of Q2 was 156 million. 99 million of that was trade receivables. Those were for the miners that they paid deposits on, basically. So that's how they're accounting it for this, I believe. So they didn't have too much. Obviously, these can be sold, as we're seeing now that those are being sold. Digital assets, obviously, they had of 28 million, but that's obviously down to almost 9 million now, possibly, so that's a lot lower. Cash and cash equivalents, don't know how much they have now. They had 9.2 million back then. This were in pounds, and they converted over to USD, which was at that time 156 million. Now, obviously, the dollar has gained strength against the British pound, so it's possibly that they have less than all of that right now, based on the value of the US dollar. So those are the total current assets. Total, let me see, liabilities, here we go. Liabilities, they had trade payables of 17 million. Loans and borrowings, they had 44 million. Income tax was 2.4 million in pounds. And so it wasn't too bad. Obviously, with Bitcoin coming down in price, electricity going up in price as well, that obviously hurt their cash flow with them being able to make it. I'm trying to see here. Let's see here. What do we got? Where was it? Okay, general administrative compensation was 11.5 million. It looks like, let me see here if I can find it here. Total current assets. Let's see your liabilities, total liabilities. Other compensation, loss income. Where was it? Consulting, general administrative was actually 0. Operating cost expenses was 9 million. Share-based compensation was 1.7 million. Foreign exchange. Okay, so we don't actually have a direct number on what their administrative costs were. Trying to find that in here. I don't have it here. So one of the things, obviously, they are now in what you would call survival mode, I guess you could say. I've gone through this a couple of times when with the mining farm that I was a part of. Anytime Bitcoin would fall down in price, we basically had to shut down operations at that point in time in order to survive to the next possible bull run. During that time, we shut off Bitcoin miners. We only had the Ethereum miners. That's not possible now. They don't even mine Ethereum anyways, so that's not a big issue there. But at that point, we just kept the lights on barely in the mining farm. At that point, nobody got paid anything during that time. So we only got paid when we were generating revenue. So what I'm trying to get at is, I think at this point in time where nobody wants to do this, but I think it's something that's hard and it has to be done, I think. Obviously, the management team has to take either a pay cut or a stopgap in pay until things turn around. And at that point, they could maybe do a plan where they start repaying them a percentage of what they actually would have made over that period of time, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, slowly add that into their pay once they start being more profitable, I guess you could say. But in the meantime, you just got to do a stopgap on any expenses that you can. Obviously, anything that's not needed, employee-wise, you're pretty much fully installed right now. They don't need a lot of employees to maintain that facility. You basically need somebody there to make sure the fans are running as they're supposed to be running, and then the miners are operating as they're supposed to be operating. So you could be down to like a 2-person team or something like that, running that whole operation. Especially now that we're getting into the wintertime, you don't have to really worry so much about the miners getting overheated at night. So you might be able to curtail your operations even more by having just maybe somebody there overnight, one person monitoring things, and and then in the morning, maybe having 2 people can go in and restart the miners or something like that. That's just kind of my thoughts on it. Trying to cut costs as much as you can, basically. Everybody else that's not needed during this time, unfortunately, I think they have to be let go. That is something that I would be looking into. Non-essential personnel would be basically laid go, whether it's layoffs or whatnot. And then hopefully when you start getting back on your feet, you can bring those people back in. Or unfortunately, you may have to bring in some new people. But that's just the reality of the business that you're in right now. Right now is just survival mode. So let me know what you guys think. Obviously, it's not good. It's obviously the second miner that we've seen. We've had Core, now Argo. Nobody thought Argo was going to be one of the issue ones. People were thinking it was going to be possibly Bitfarms, but we'll see if Bitfarms, knock on wood, doesn't also get a little bit into trouble here. And the reason why is because of their debt here. If we look, Argo at that time had in June had a current ratio of 2.1. Obviously, they had the 99 or 90 some million that was secured for basically deposits on the miners. Obviously, they've been selling the miners now, so they're able to transition that over into basically cash as needed. But when you look at, where is it, Bitfarms? Bitfarms was 13 million in the hole if you take current assets minus total liabilities. They did have also only a 1.29 current ratio, which was a little scary, which obviously some have commented that Core and Bitfarms were the most likely to possibly go cash flow negative. We have not heard anything from Bitfarms yet. They have been selling a lot of, they've sold a lot of Bitcoin here in the last 4 months. They sold a total of approximately 122 million. So I think that kind of helped them pay down some of their debt that they had and get them in a better footing. At least I'm hoping that's the case. We'll see, obviously, when they report their Q3 numbers. But they sold a total of almost 6,000 Bitcoins. It was 5,945 that they sold here. They did have a pretty good hodl here of 6,000 at the beginning when they started. And they, obviously in June, things went really bad for them and for a lot of the miners. And they had to sell a lot as well. But so far, knock on wood, they're seeming to get through it okay. But we'll see if anything comes of it. So that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe. As always, we'll find out tomorrow, possibly from some of the miners. Maybe CleanSpark will report their October numbers. We'll have some others as well. They're usually pretty quick to do that. And then we'll get into, obviously, the updates for the miners and the Q3 reports, which will be coming out as well. And then we got the CPI data coming out, I think, next week on the 10th. So we got a lot of stuff happening this week. And next week, within probably the next 3 weeks, it's going to be pretty busy. So stay tuned for that. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Love you all. Have a great Halloween.